In conflict zones across the world, children's lives and future are irrevocably changed by warfare. International humanitarian law, IHL, states that children affected by armed conflict are entitled to special protection. They must not be unlawfully recruited into armed forces or armed groups and must not be allowed to take part in the fighting. Today, there are, however, parties to conflict who continue to unlawfully recruit and use children in armed conflict, and many children and their families are affected by the consequences of child recruitment and use. We do see, however, that there are parties who make efforts to demobilize recruited children and release child detainees. In the past years, we have documented respect for IHL for the protection of children in different parts of the world, including in the Philippines, Colombia, Nepal, Sierra Leone, Central African Republic, Democratic Republic of the Congo, Chad, and South Sudan. What happens concretely for children associated with armed forces or armed groups to be formally demobilized or released and reintegrated back into society? Let's break it down. In many situations involving child recruits, there is an armed conflict ongoing, so IHL applies. The ICRC and other organizations, including the UN, regularly speak to states and armed groups about seizing and preventing unlawful recruitment and use of children, and if recruited, about how to release them. In some cases, a formal handover protocol is agreed, particularly for children who are captured on the battlefield or detained, and who need to be transferred promptly to civilian child protection actors. In some cases, some parties to the conflict agree to pause their military operations to comply with the commitments to release children in accordance with international obligations. Both sides, this could mean the state and/or the non-state armed group, or NSAG, agree that it's okay for the ICRC or other humanitarian organizations, such as UN agencies, to cross the front lines or to meet in a specific location and pick up the children. Safe transfer and transport of the children, together with the ICRC staff or humanitarian worker, is ensured, respecting the emblem. The plane or helicopter or vehicle should not be shot down or attacked. Whenever possible, children benefit from reintegration support with a focus on accessing healthcare, including mental health and psychosocial services, as well as education and/or vocational training. The ICRC and national societies can search for the child's family members and put them back in touch with the child, often after a long period of separation, and potentially reunify them. Then we follow up to see how the return to the family and community is going. Can you see all the different components of respect for IHL necessary to achieve the success of this action? Children shouldn't be part of the fight in the first place, but instances of renewed respect for the law occur every single day, in some of the toughest situations where conflicts are ongoing. These instances are often underreported, but they matter because they show that IHL protects. They make the difference between life and death for thousands of people who are caught up in conflict. IHL in action. Respect for the law in the battlefield.